Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Man, today is a special day, y'all. Man, one of the most electrifying guards in NBA history. Yeah, I said it, NBA history. His athleticism, matched with his handles, made him a fan favorite of the 2000s. He went number two in the 1999 NBA draft to the Grizzlies. And somehow, he ended up in Houston. He won co-rookie of the year honors. And who could forget the epic dunk contest performance? You know what I'm saying? Taking on none other than Vince Carter at the time. Three-time All-Star and superstardom to match at the highest level of the game. This is truly a blessing to be able to chop it up with none other than Stevie Franchise, y'all. But before we get into that, man, I gotta salute my guy Soul Pack, man. Soul Pack is the proud sponsor of the Legends Talk Basketball podcast. Listeners, y'all get an exclusive 20% off with the code ATHOOPS20. That's ATHOOPS20 for 20% off for your purchase. Make sure you visit Soul Pack's website. You follow them on all of their social media for the latest updates. Get in your bag today with Soul Pack. And now, let's get it on, man. We gonna get it on, and we gonna get it strong, man. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into it though, and I bring our guests up to the platform. Um, Actually, forget it, man. We gonna bring them on right now. Holla back, man. Legends talk. Yo, what's going on, my boy?
What did it do? What did it do? East Coast. What did it do?
Hey, man, none other than the legendary Steve Francis, man, aka the franchise. It's a pleasure to to have you on the platform. You know what I'm saying? I definitely thank you for your time and everything that you did on the court, man.
I appreciate it. I was looking at your intro, man. You got some serious people on there. You got Kenny Anderson on there. You got Walter Berry. You got Patrick Ewing. You got Jamal
Yeah,
Mashburn. So I see which way you're going with this podcast, man. I think it's a good thing.
I appreciate you, man. You've been tapping in with me, man. Supporting me. Shooting some comments in there when you can, and I truly appreciate it.
No doubt, man. You got real recognize real, because a lot of people out there trying to get some other type of stories, but I see the facts and stuff that you bringing out is what people really need to hear. So I appreciate it also.
Of course, man. But yeah, man, we could get right into it, man, if you don't mind.
Ain't no doubt. I'm ready, man.
Everybody, make sure you got your popcorn. Make sure you know what I'm saying. Do what you got to do. But with no
True.
further ado, man, let's get it on, man. The people want to, you know what I'm saying. The people want to know a little bit more. They know what they know from the TV, but now we hope to dive a little bit deeper and you know what I'm saying, and learn more about who Steve Francis is.
I appreciate that, man. And I'm so happy. Like a lot of things on social media, people can get straight to the person without three or four or five or six or seven people stepping on the story. So it's always get to get it from the source.
Hey, right from the source, man. No cut, man. No chaser on this one.
No doubt.
But again, man, before we get into it, make sure y'all go to that Soul Pack website and put in code ATHOOPS20 for 20% off of your purchase. But yeah, Steve, man, it's no secret
Yeah.
that you had a pretty tough upbringing, man. Tacoma Park, Maryland. You know what I'm saying? The '80s, the '90s. Um, at what age did you kind of realize that basketball was going to be how you were going to be able to make it out of there, and who introduced you to the game?
It was fun, growing up in the '80s in DC. Even though it says that I'm from Tacoma Park, I was originally born in DC. So,
Okay.
just like anybody else in that area or any urban metro area, you move so many different times. So, for me, I landed in a good spot being on the other side of the line in Tacoma Park. But as a kid, my dad, before he went to jail, he definitely showed me how to play basketball at a young age. And growing up in DC, it was always a basketball court somewhere. So I picked it up at a young age,
Right, right. So
probably like eight or something, like 7, 8, but like really started playing like 10, 11, 12 or something like that.
right, right. So now when it was time for high school ball, you know what I'm saying, you went to like six different high schools. You played a grand
Man,
total of two
hey,
games. Tell me about that high school, that
it
whole
was
high
rough,
school
man. It
time.
was rough, man. Like in that time, I don't know if people know. A lot of people know about DC, Howard Homecoming, like all those things. So I'm a young kid going to high school, seeing all these things. Mind you, my brothers are seniors in high school, so older brothers don't want the youngest hanging around them. So we had to get our own mob together. So by us doing that, playing basketball, and also seeing some other things outside of basketball, kind of steered me away from the classroom, if you know what I'm talking about. So sometimes I would come to school, sometimes I wouldn't. And you can't do that when you're trying to play basketball in high school. So they kind of caught on to some of the things, not going to class and stuff like that really, hurt me on the school level. But at the same time, I was still getting it in on the streets playing ball.
Right, right. So, at what age was it like, yo, this is undeniable. I'm a lot better than my peers. At what age did you start to get that feeling that this may be something that I could do? What I'm saying, take it a little further than the average person.
I think like when I came to San Jacinto, I got my GED. Like I said, like you said, I didn't, I didn't graduate from high school. I had to come out of state. I had to come from DC to Tacoma Park to Texas to obtain my GED. So when I left home and was able to really focus on basketball and school, and like you said, not playing in high school, it was more like me playing in high school my first year of junior college. And I was able to concentrate more, not with the city type of life, some slow down Texas type country shit. So
Right, right,
just being away from, all those different things that were pulling me, I was able to see something totally different when I got out of there.
right, right. Sometimes you got to be away from all the distractions and you know what I'm saying, and everything going on, especially if you connected to a big city. There's a lot of distractions out there. But you went to San Jacinto, and also you went to the Allegheny College of Maryland. Can you hear me? You can hear me all right? Yo,
I should turn this thing off, man. My bad.
I can hear you. You can hear me?
But yeah, I was saying, so being in DC, so I grew up basketball wise where um, guys before me, a lot of guys really didn't have the opportunity to go pro. Some
Right,
of the guys who made it, you got Sherman Douglas, he went to Syracuse University. Lawrence Moulton, he went to Syracuse University. Moochie Norris, Mike. So I seen a lot of guys who made it out, but I just didn't see me having that avenue because I didn't, like you said, I didn't play high school basketball. Nobody really was searching for Steve, because I really wasn't really known until like I said, until I came to junior college, was able to focus and put some structure to all the stuff that I learned, playing on the streets.
right, right. And now in that junior college, junior college time, you became the first player to take two unbeaten teams into the National Junior College Tournament. That was um that was your San Jacinto squad and the Allegheny squad as well.
So when I came
Um,
to San Jack, it was some New York guys too. It was some tough New York guys on my team. Roy Dela Cruz, Calvin Bowman. I never forget because they I'm from DC, and New York and DC was different at the time as far as more people going to the NBA. But as you see right now, DMV got it on lock. Shouts out to KD and them young dudes out there burning it. But back then, all the New York guys would come and, give me some advice how they was getting paid. And I'm like, God damn, what am I missing? So I had a great year at San Jack. We went all the way to the national championship. We lost in the championship game. I thought I played pretty well, and I was splitting time. So I was like, you know what, man? I was like, you know what, man? I need to try to find a school that's closer to home, closer to something I'm used to. So I looked up Allegheny. Rest in peace to my big brother. My big brother was like, that's what you want to do. You sure you're going to leave this great situation? I said, I can make it pop anywhere now, bro. And then, I just came back to Allegheny. And I think that's when I developed the confidence to really think that I could play professional basketball when I was in junior college at Allegheny. And the
Mm-hmm.
wildest thing about that is that I never knew until I played that we played against Van Gundy's dad, Jeff Van Gundy's dad. And back then, I beat the brakes off of Niagara, right? So fast forward, I'm wondering, did this man know that I beat the brakes off his dad? So eventually, we will have a conversation about it. But to me, it was just so full circle for me. But yeah, I think that junior college route really helped. One those high school years that I missed. And it helped me as a man off the court just to know what to look at before and after, if it was a possibility for me to go professional.
Right, right, and don't forget about that quadruple double if you remember, versus Sean Marion.
Man, listen, bro. So like I said, we just came from the national championship at San Jacinto and Allegheny, I guess, because I transferred, we were kind of, we were behind Vincennes. So I'm like, I'm just looking like who they say is the best, junior college player. So it so happened we happen to have Vincennes, I think that's the name, Vincennes on our schedule. And then I just started reading about who they said was the best junior college basketball player, this and that. So mind you, we driving from Maryland all the way to Indianapolis to the tournament of the best quote unquote team in college basketball. Um, and to me, it was a regular game, but just to see how many professional scouts were there, the hype that was behind those players, and for me, it wasn't really about myself. It was more about Allegheny, me being from Maryland to DC. So, yeah, man, I played lights out, man. I was drained. Had 100,000 steals, rebounds, whatever, and
Whatever.
passed out after the game, man. It was something. Like I said, they got the tape. They never released the tape. I heard about the tape, and that was something that I always wanted to put on, my documentary. But if you was there, you definitely witnessed what happened that night.
Yeah, yeah, you may see that tape come up on All Things Hoops social
Hey,
media
hey,
feed.
look, if I said, watch how skinny and fast I was, though. Watch how skinny my head. But like I said, that was like being able to come home um, to play in front of my family and friends
Right,
to
right.
go to Allegheny.
So now, your junior year, you transferred to Maryland, University of Maryland, where what I'm saying, you kind of blew it out the water, and first team All ACC. The list goes on. But tell me about like that transition over to to the big leagues, and now all the attention is on you, and that NBA buzz starts to pick up. How did tell me, like, walk me through that how you felt during that time period, being the man and being I'm saying heavily touted as the next one.
It was a group of guys around me who competed against me, who I mean, like pushed me, and still to this day, the same guys who still doing the same thing. Darren McClinton, David Vanderpool, Keith Veeney, Jason Muscari, It's like it's 100 guys in DC that I got to play against every day. I'm not even talking about outside of the Beltway who are Division I college basketball players, former or pro. So every day they're going up against me and polishing me up to help me. And just to let you know, it was the NBA lockout that year too, that summer.
Mm.
So in the summer times, I would be in the gym. I would see Chris Webber, or Chris coming to Maryland to play. I'm seeing Enos Wiley, like all these guys. And I'm not even on the map. And I'm like, man, I gotta get out there. And you can ask Chris Webber, man. One day I finally got to play in the NBA with those guys. And I was like, am I really about to play with Chris Webber? He'll tell you this. So, he used to think he could do the DC handle and dribbling and all of that. So, when he got to DC, he was dribbling the basketball. So one day he was just running off the court and I was just behind. I said, backboard. It was like probably like the 3-point line. He threw the ball off the backboard, man. And after that, I think a lot of people understood that I was really serious about playing professional basketball. And then I just stopped being on the court after that. Like I never came off after that summer. Never
That's
came off that
incredible.
Maryland. So it was already set for me to go to Maryland University after that summer.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So now I noticed that even with the Chris Webber story just now, right? There's a lot of players that you've played with in the league that you've known forever. You know what I'm saying? Like dudes that you probably play AAU with, or you know what I'm saying? Like who are some of those characters that you know what I'm saying? You just happen to know from when they was little dudes up until they made it to the league right with you.
From around, like I said, I just named some of them that are older than me. The younger kids, it's just so many of them. Like after, I think after DeMar Johnson came, DJ, shouts out to DJ and Curtis Malone. Once they came out, I think it was a flood of people from that area who had that spotlight on them to make basketball bigger in our area. But as far as people from my area, a lot of them, some of the guys played overseas. Like I said, my boy Jason played briefly in the NBA with Charlotte and things like that. So, but like I said, it's still a village of guys who's still out there hooping too.
Right. Now, all right. So now you're at Maryland. You're killing it. You know what I'm
Showtime.
saying? It's showtime every night. You know what I'm saying? And now it's time for you to make a decision, right? Um, Although you stated that you was 99% sure that you would return to Maryland for your senior year, you opted to enter the NBA draft.
So
Tell
when we
me,
played St. John's in Tennessee, Ron Artest, they had three people checking me. Look at that game. They had Ron Artest on me, Eric Barkley, and Boosie Thornton. They had three people on me in the Sweet 16. So after they beat me up, I was like, you know what, man? Why come back if this one I'm gonna face next year? I'm gone. I just seen three potential NBA players had to just check me in one game. If you go back to that tape, you'll see they had like a boxing one. And, it was tough for me to deal with on that level. Being a junior, not really, knowing the NCAA system like that. But that's when I kind of knew I wasn't 99%. I had to say politically
right,
99%.
right,
So
right.
my grandmother wouldn't really be like, all right, that's it. But I kind of knew that after the NCAA tournament, I was going to push.
Mm. And shouts to your grandma. You know what I'm saying? I saw her on the footage of when you actually made that that walk, to the commissioner and shake his hand, and you couldn't find
Wow,
somebody
right.
more proud than her. Getting drafted ninth overall must have been a crazy experience, right? Like,
But
and
for
and,
me,
and it was in your hometown.
that's what I was about to say. So it was at home. So take it back to what you said. I went from San Jacinto to Allegheny at Maryland, then the University of Maryland, and then the draft was in my hometown. So to me, that night could have to me, I thought I was gonna be the number one pick. So when you seen the Grizzlies pick me, it came from all of those past 6 years at all those different schools, and then finally getting something together that the train is moving in a positive direction. I just kind of thought that I was going to be the number one pick. So, you know, um, basketball is basketball, and politics are politics, and owners are owners. And there was a movie that I just came out with. It's called The Grizzly Truth that was released in Canada 2 years ago. If you get a chance to check it out, and it just explains my background on why the decision for me not to want to go to Vancouver, how I came about, and I think it's a good insight on a lot of things like you're asking me these questions now that I opened up about also. It's called The Grizzly Truth.
Right. And where can people see that? Is
You
that
can catch it on
available?
Prime. You can get it. It's on Tubi. It's on Prime. It was in Canada. It was the number two, number three movie in Canada before it was just recently released in the United States in
Right, right.
August.
Now, people got to understand at that time, there was a lot of not just yourself. There was a lot of people, when you would get drafted to say Toronto or Vancouver Grizzlies or whatever the case may be. That's a long way from home. You know what I'm saying? That's a long way from home. It's cold. There's different factors that weigh into that. But you made it kind of known that you didn't want to really go out there. And they made the push for you to go to Houston. Tell me about that, man. Like, what I'm saying, were you content with being in Houston, or was it like a situation that you kind of settled on?
It was, like I said, before the draft, we held all our personal workouts on campus at the University of Maryland. I spoke to the coach from the Vancouver Grizzlies. I spoke to the general manager months and months before the draft. And even after they worked me out, even Toronto, Coach Butch Beard, I'll never forget. I said, "Hey, Coach, thanks for the offer, but I don't think that I can leave my family that far to play basketball in Canada." And from that day, I thought that that's how professional the NBA was. Little did I know, after that, he's a crybaby. He doesn't want to stick to the rules. He wants to do things his way. So it was hard. Like I said, I was 22 years old. Like I said, all those schools that I have been through, the journey was very, very tangible, was very reachable for me. So I didn't want to mess it up by playing somewhere that I didn't think I can play. So
Right.
any good sports guy will understand. Me and Mike Bibby in the backcourt in 2000 would not have been a good look for any team. 2 6'3" guards trying to check Eddie Jones and Kobe.
Right. Right.
Like 4 games, like who like I'm like, man, I'm not gonna try to play shooting guard in the NBA. I was fresh out, I was 6'3", a buck, whatever. And I was like, nah, that's not gonna work. So we kind of, had our differences between that, but things kind of worked out for the best for me to be here in Houston, and look where the Grizzlies are now. They're in Memphis, splurging and having one of the best years that they had with the new talent that they have.
No, absolutely, man. Now, as time progresses, man, that first year, you won co-rookie of the year with Elton Brand, man. That's pretty, what I'm saying, pretty impressive.
Elton cool, but there's no way it should have been co-rookie of the year. But go ahead.
He
But go ahead. Keep going.
said,
Elton
"But go
cool guy.
ahead."
There's no way that was something. That was
That's what I
that
was going
lick.
to ask you. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you feel like, what I'm saying, it should have been a unanimous decision,
That was their
or
lick back for the draft. That was their lick back. Oh, you want to act up like that on TV? So we're gonna let the Duke guy that we really, really wanted to look good. We're gonna make
mm,
sure he catch it. Anybody should have been a co-rookie. It should have been Lamar Odom that year.
mm. That's facts.
Yeah, it should have
That's
been LA.
facts. Now, did y'all have any relationship? You and what I'm saying, you and Elton
Oh,
off of that?
definitely. All these guys before the draft, like you said, it was in DC. All of them came to my hometown. We worked out at the whole week before the draft. Barron, Master P, William Avery, Trajan Langdon. Like I got us all in trouble. I had my guys bring buses to take us to the gym. So yeah, so all of us had a great camaraderie. Our class of '99, Jason Terry, Bender, like all of us was cool with each other, and to this day,
Oh, Bender was tough.
good guy, man. Still.
Hugely underrated. He's a dude. I think he still holds Michael Jordan record at the McDonald game, if I'm not mistaken.
Look how long he was one. He was it's Kevin Garnett and then that kid. Those the longest kids ever.
Nah, they tough.
Before everybody was Ticket, and then it was Bender. The long, what Wimby looks like now. That's how Bender was. That's how I thought.
Wemby looking crazy right now.
Exactly.
He looking ridiculous. But Steve, tell me how, what I'm saying? Like it was just a situation where you was running around not knowing your next situation to now you're an NBA All-Star, man. Tell me, like, walk me through the feelings that,
Man, I'm like,
behind all
all
of that.
right. I'm like, all right. So now I got the keys in the engine now. So I can really show my talent. I can really show my neighbor. I can really show my city, DC, about because, before that, like we were just known for Georgetown University, and I love Coach Thompson, and he told me the right thing. He didn't want me to go to Georgetown, but I just wanted the whole world to understand that little Middle East part right there where I'm from. That we right here, we got a lot to say about basketball, and kind of wanted to be one of the pioneers to open the gates for a lot of these kids that you see him play now.
Nah, it's tough, man. Now, I'll be doing the basketball community a disservice, man, if I don't mention this right here, man. One of the most legendary guard duos in league history. Steve Francis and Cuttino Mobley. Talk about that for a second, man. Like, what was it like out there to play with Cat Mobley, and why did his game complement yours so well?
I think, like I said, it was a lockout the year before. I had got traded in late August, and the first day I walked in that gym when I got traded, I'm just looking down on the court like, I know Hakeem gonna be here. I know Charles Barkley gonna be here. I'm like, who else? And I just see Lefty out there, man. He just, and it's Nick Van Exel out there. You got Sam Cassell, Mario. You got all the top guys in Houston, and he's out there lighting them up. And I'm just looking like, and then he just yelled like, "Yo!" And he just told me to come down. So since that day that he invited me on that court, uh, that's when our brothership started, our brotherly relationship started. And for him, I was a lifesaver. His left hand ass could not play no point guard no more. That's why they lost a year before to the Lakers. They had him at the point. So it was only right for him to have a nice point guard because I remember him and Tyson Wheeler when he was in college at Rhode Island, how they both left-handed, but they played off of each other with an up pace, fast tempo, pass it type of basketball. And our camaraderie just came off of that, not only on the court, but also off the court too.
Mm. Hey, you guys lit it up, man, for a few seasons together. And
Five
again,
straight,
man,
five,
one of
six, six,
the
6 straight summers, 6 straight,
hey man,
flawless.
one of the best duos in the history of basketball, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, Cat was a big guard, and being from Philly, you know how Philadelphia people are, man. He's a hard nosed, no nonsense type of individual, especially if he knows he's right. Both, like I said, both on and off the court. So you're not going out slick or outsmart Catino, and that kind of helped me be that dog that I was. So like I'm like Cat, man, he can't check me. So he would just give me the green light, and those things carried over year in year out.
Nah, that's fire. That's fire. Now, 2000, the year 2000, slam dunk contest, man. You know what I'm saying? You went you
25
went
years ago.
you went head up with Vince Kennedy, Vince Carter. Tell me, how did you prepare for an event like this, or did you just do everything off the head?
Me and Kat, we practiced some stuff. I was practicing things, but I was just like I said, as a kid growing up, and it's completely different for this era of kids because we grew up seeing Spud Webb, the underdog, Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Kenny Skywalker, Harold Miner. Like we seen guys who made a living off this All Star weekend. So I was just happy to be a part of it. But knowing before, they already said it was over before it started. But just to be able to compete at such a high level with so many legendary dunkers, you also had Tracy McGrady who was there, Grant Hill, with Jerry Stackhouse, Ricky Davis. So to me, I was just happy to be at the All Star game.
No, that was probably that was the best in my opinion. That was the best slam dunk contest in history.
It
You know
was
what I'm saying?
loaded. It was loaded, and and anybody that was close to those dunks and heard the audacity, how loud Vince dunks were, it was just like. And if you see the tapes, my face, I was like, dang, this is loud. And he was doing them in the games too. So, um, it was definitely a great dunk contest. And even though Kenny Smith's from Houston, he was already biased that Vincent won. I ain't, I didn't care, but I was just happy to be there.
You would think he'd be a little bit biased to Houston, but I'm gonna leave that alone
That's an open play right there.
though.
That's an open play.
Yo, speaking of Houston, man, you hold Houston, you know what I'm saying, to your close to your heart. I believe you're in the Houston area right now. Um, and being a three-time All-Star, man, in Houston was a big deal. What was it like to play for the Rockets, man, for most of your career? And what does that city truly mean to you?
I like you said, all those schools and all those things that kind of took a toll on stability for myself. And once I became a Rocket, my stability started. Both of my kids are here. My daughter's off at college, and my son is in high school here. So, unlike the way that I grew up, I wanted more stability for my kids. So, My son is here. He's on pace to graduate, similar to my daughter. She's in college. So everything that I did was based around those two kids.
No,
That's it.
that's it.
There's nothing else behind it. There ain't no music or a female. Nah, it's just more about my kids than anything.
Hey, as it should be, as it should be. And while at while being a Rocket, you also played with the legendary Yao Ming. What was your experience like with him? You know what I'm saying, alongside him, and what was it like as he tried to kind of get used to the whole NBA feel with, you know what I'm saying, with the culture shock being on the other end now, where he doesn't know the language and doesn't know some of the culture. Like, explain a little bit about that.
To me, it was a blessing for me to represent the Rockets, to go to the draft, to receive the first pick, and to the day he walked into the Compact Center, just to see the hype built behind the Houston Rockets, and also him as a player. At first, a lot of people were skeptical. One, because he was Asian, and two, he was tall, and nobody thought he had enough body to bang with people. But when you walk up on somebody that tall, the weight has to be somewhere. And when I met him, I could tell that he had a real strong trunk, and he spoke English too at the beginning. So he had a translator, Colin. He was actually went to the University of Maryland, so that kind of helped our relationship mend that faster. I remember the first day when he walked in to practice, probably like 200 cameras just following him from that day until the day he retired. So watching a young athlete like that, come into something a different world from Asia was shocking, not only for myself but even to the whole NBA. It shocked
Right.
the whole NBA, and he didn't come out and just lay an egg. He came out and played basketball.
Yeah, you could tell that he had some game. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't no just tall for nothing dude that was just doing whatever, just standing in the middle and looking crazy. But he
It just
actually
looked
had some
funny. It
game.
just looked funny because he had moves, and people like, no way, there's no way this shot can be doing these moves. And I think his work ethic really proved a lot of people wrong, because he played year round. That's why his career kind of was cut short. But he did put the work in, and his first game versus Shaq, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes to his capability.
Absolutely. I think Shaq talks about that all the time. Like, yo, this dude is for real. He ain't just a pushover.
Yeah, and I think that helped both of them, being the most dominant, Shaq center at that time, and Yao probably being one of the most finesse and most likable NBA players. His popularity probably was bigger at his max than anybody, because the Asian market really came over and really helped the NBA get to where it is now.
Right. Right. And that was all going through Houston, right through the Rockets.
I witnessed it. I
Right, right.
definitely seen that.
Now, Steve, before we get any further, man, I gotta ask you this question, right?
Hmm.
And this is I forgot. I don't know what exact the year was, but you hit the courts at the legendary Rucker Park, man, playing in the EBC. Legendary moment, man, for basketball culture. What was that experience like, man? How did street ball at the Rucker mean? Like, what did it mean to you as a ball player at that time?
It was everything that it was built up to be, from the days of what I heard about the GOAT, from Dr. J, to seeing the and one guys out there, and to see the support for that community there was something that I grew up in DC. So when I was approached about it, I was in New York doing some promotional things, and Future had called me and asked me what was I doing. Mind you, that whole day, myself and Stephon Marbury were working out, just talking about the next year of the NBA, and I was with Steph that whole day. And I was like, yo, man, I'm tired, Steph. I really don't feel like playing. He took me to the hotel. He said, just get some rest. And I was like, man, I don't know. So, I laid down, talked to my boys back home. They shot up the Rucker in like 1 minute. I don't know how they got up there that fast. And I told them I was going to go out there. So, waited for my boys from DC to get up there. And from the moment I walked in, I can understand why people say that's one of the most legendary venues outside to play basketball. The people love basketball. They know basketball. Uh, it's not the perfect environment to be in. You got people who don't like you, people who do like you. So if you're not playing up to what they think, they definitely will let you know. And for me, that was just one of those days I was in, in the groove of what I've been practicing that summer. I was practicing on working on my pull up jump shot. I know a lot of people seen the ball handling and all those things, but if you really look into it, I was working on how I could shoot off the dribble. But it just so happened that it was a lot of white shirts in that crowd that made me feel like I was home. So that's when I had to turn it up a whole nother level once you hear that crowd. It's a
Hey,
different
hey,
energy.
hey, you definitely turned it up a little bit,
I had
man.
to. I'm like, hold up. I'm like, all right. So this is
Man,
Rucker. And I'm just looking around like, dang, all
and
right.
you was out there. It wasn't no slouches out there with you either. It was, you know what I'm saying. You're going head up with who was it at the time? Was it Skip to Malou, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken?
it was Ray. It was Headache. I think it was also Escalade. It was a lot of guys out there with who were with familiar names from the Rucker Park. So I didn't know if they would call me Stevie, franchise, or what. I just know whoever my man was that day, I was going at whoever. So I just wanted to go. It didn't make a difference who was out there that day. So
Hey,
I just wanted to like I said, I wanted everybody to know that little part of that map. DC meant something a lot, and I carry it everywhere I go.
nah, that's tough, man. You got to. You got to have that pride. And
Yeah.
and it's evident that you had that everywhere, every court that you stepped on, you was repping that area. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you even put me on to you was wearing your hobo
And you see
headband
what I
and
got on right now? I got my We Are One. This is our clothing line.
okay.
We still in effect. We are one.
Yeah,
Shouts out to
yeah, yeah.
Sam, Nick, Kenny,
Shout out to
all of
We
them.
All One. We
You
gotta we
already
gotta
know it.
get I gotta support, man. I
I
wear it all
got
the
you.
time.
Definitely, that ain't no problem, man.
We
Ain't
could
no
do we
problem.
could do the Jersey exchange.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time up in New York and New Jersey. I got a lot of good friends up there. Some of my business partners are there, so I do spend a lot of time in New York. And just got to know a lot about that city also. And it's kind of similar to DC a lot to me also.
Right. Now speaking about New York, man, you were
I'm back on now.
all right, my bad. I don't know what happened, but
It dropped.
yeah. So talking about New York, man, you spent some time in the Knicks uniform. Can you and as well as Orlando, um, and in Orlando, you were still Stevie franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like you were still up and down. You know what I'm saying? Scoring at a high clip and doing what you do. I guess in New York, it was more of the injuries started happening.
Well,
Can
and
you?
so both of them. And now when we talk about my career, and I'm not blaming nothing on anybody, but I had 9 coaches. 9 coaches. In Houston, I had Rudy. Then I had Jeff Van Gundy. I get to Orlando. It was Johnny Davis. He got fired mid-season. Then it was Chris Gent. The next year they had Brian Hill, who was a coach that I told from Vancouver that I didn't want to go. So he was able to coach me in Orlando. So when I got to Orlando, uh, Dwight Howard was just becoming a rookie, and I kind of knew that we were in a transition. Grant Hill was just becoming healthy, but I still was considered an all-star. So I was kind of revving the team up and carrying the team. But we were trying to, do something. The year before, I think they were like 9-100 or something like that.
Right.
And I think there was something. And we came out real strong. And midway through the season, Cuttino had got traded to Sacramento, the Christie. So, I kind of knew that the team was developing, transitioning to make the team surrounded by Dwight Howard. I talked to Grant, I talked to Dwight, And I knew that. So I'm like, all right, we're going to keep feeding him. But at this point in my career, I think I'm ready to win a championship. So that year, Grant made the All Star team. Dwight Howard made the All Star team. So our team, we didn't make the playoffs. They were still in the coaching situation, new ownership. So it was kind of fuzzy going into the next season. Brian Hill, like I said, the coach that I told in Vancouver, I didn't want to play with him. So I asked this guy, "Do you still have anything against me?" Of course, the answer was no. But man to man, of course he did, and he
Right,
would
right.
never admit it. And
Stevie
he
Wonder
kind
could see that.
yeah, so he kind of started, the plays started changing, and started like scolding me publicly on TV, like if we were losing, it would be. So I'm looking like, so I kind of got wind about some things in New York that possibly could happen, that me and Steph could probably be Isaiah and Joe Dumars in New York. So I'm like, psh, I already know they transitioned to White in this year and the next following year, so I got a couple years of my contract left. And I love New York, so why not go to the Knicks and try
Just
to
trying to
make it
make it
happen?
happen.
So I get to New York, not knowing it was a complete circus on page, whatever that
That's
back page in the New York, whatever it is, with page 6, whatever the New York,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
Mike
put the
Luke.
Knicks on the back page. So every day I'm looking at the paper. It's Isaiah Thomas, Larry Brown. Isaiah Thomas, Larry Brown. Isaiah Thomas, Larry Brown. Stephon Marbury. Isaiah Thomas. Every day, they're not even talking about are we getting better. They're not even talking about the talent that we have with a young Eddie Curry, with Jamal Crawford, with Quentin Richardson,
Yeah,
with Nate Robinson, with myself. We had a good David Lee. Like we had a good core of guys who just could focus on basketball. Besides that newspaper and what was going on in the front office and certain individuals, I think we could have turned out to be an okay team. Um, it was out of hand. One week you would start, the coach would tell you he love you. The next week you're the, and I'm just like, man, this is serious. So
that's New York, man.
towards the end, I was just like, man, just can y'all just send me back to Houston? I was like, man, I don't know what. Can y'all just
Right, right.
can y'all just send me back to Houston? Well, so they kind of weighed me, and I had an opportunity to go to so many different teams. So for me, I just before I got traded to Orlando, I just built my new home and all these things. My kids were young. I was like, I'm going back to Houston. So the New York thing was kind of been there, done that, and this is what New York is about. So I enjoyed my time in New York. I can tell you that.
Right, right.
Off the court, I did.
I mean, it must be frustrating though. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like you could probably see this is not going to end well. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it was
This
hard, man, because we like I practiced hard, bro. Like I was, I mean, I think when I was in New York, like even though my knee was injured a little bit, I just think being the uncertainty if you were going to play, if you're not, if it's going to be this coach, it was just so many different
right,
scenarios inside the locker room that couldn't, it wouldn't come out on the court as a product. The product meaning the whole team had that camaraderie in practice every day.
right.
It would show in the court. It would show one guy might have 100, one guy will have two, and then the guy that had two would score again for another week, or the guy that had 100 will be 0 for 11 the next month. So it was just a confidence jerker to me.
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. You got to be mentally strong. That's where the mental game comes in, I guess.
Absolutely.
But so now the injuries are piling up. It was almost that time to where you made the decision, or I think maybe you were waived or whatever the case may be, and you made the decision to head over to China. You know, how was
So
how was that? Like, was that a tough decision, a hard decision for you?
it
And
was.
how
I
was
felt,
that?
like I said, I felt that I kind of owed it to Yao, just to go to his country. He came to my country, our country, and he showed me some different things. And I always told him I had a chance to go there, I would. I went to Beijing. I had a great deal. I had a shoe contract. Also had a great deal. I took my kids to China with me. Try to enroll them in school, but me being Steve Francis, the first day I get there, and I heard that when you get to China, it takes you a week to adjust. The next day, the first practice they wanted me to play. If you look at the tape, I had an ice bag. I was like, Coach, man, I didn't know the language. I'm still tired. And I didn't know what was going on. I still didn't have my legs under me. I didn't have anything. I'm still my equilibrium. It was dark all day. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get used to this maybe in a week. So the
Right, right,
second day, they're like, oh, you gotta play. And I'm just like, man, I couldn't even jump. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of hard transitioning. It was cold. They were playing ping pong in the gym, smoking cigarettes while we are playing. My kids were upset. The coach and I was just like, you know what, man?
it just
Do I
wasn't working out.
really love basketball this much to sacrifice my kids, witnessing me not happy out there, and
Right,
they're not really happy? You know what? Let me just go. I left at halftime. Stephon Marbury, I'll never forget. He called me like a long time ago. He's like, man, just stay there, stay there, stay there. Mind you, I didn't know the reason why. As we know now, he went to go on and win championship with the Beijing Ducks, but it wasn't something that I could see myself living in China. I just couldn't do it. I just love too many things here, and
right,
to
right.
sacrifice like I said, my dad left me when I was young, so I decided that my kids over the NBA or basketball, with that sense.
No, that makes a whole lot of sense, man.
It was cool. It was like, you're Yao's boy. I was like, yeah,
It's
but
cool for vacation, but
I'm like, am I happy? No way. It would money
right,
couldn't help making me happy over there.
right, right. Now, now, kind of just like wrapping everything up, right? Looking back on your entire basketball journey, some of the biggest challenges like that you face were, on and off the court, right? But when you look back, like what are your proudest, like in terms of your legacy on the court, man? How do you want the future generations to remember you?
Um, Never give up. It's similar to a Rocky type of situation. Rocky Balboa, face against so many different things, you still got to roll with the punches and be authentic to yourself. Um, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm real. I'm him. I'm this. I'm that." You gotta be real to yourself, and you gotta be real to the people that you love. If you want to be that selfish person, I'm him. I'm him. I'm that. And at the end of the day, once that ball stops dropping, are you still him or are you still the same person? So try to keep the same energy, you know, uh, balance. Some of the mistakes I made were typical mistakes of a inner city guy who went to the NBA. Sometimes hanging with the wrong crowd, sometimes giving this person too much money, sometimes staying at the party too long. Sometimes those things really take a pounding on who you are as a person, and how do you rebound for those things? Again, just being who you are yourself, and the people that love you, who genuinely love you, are still there. Um, but the best thing to me, man, is just playing, just have that NBA basketball in my hand, just like having a defender trying to check me, and I know I'm gonna bake the shit out of him. So like just having that knowledge, like who is this today? My first week of NBA, I played Sam Cassell, John Stockton, Nick Van Exel, Gary Payton, and Jason Kidd in 1 week.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And to leave that unscathed. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. There
So
you go.
how did I respond that first week? I'm playing all stars, guys who all time assist leader, block leader, steal leader. This is my first week. And the first game Sam had 100 on me. The second game Carl Malone beat me up. The third game I couldn't check Nick Van Exel. I couldn't find out where he was stopping at. So I learned my first week, but that next week, man, it was just like, all right, I'm gonna get my man now. So it was definitely a learning session for me. And nobody was soft. It wasn't like Nams to shake the rookie's hand. They like he think he's number two pick. What? Wow. So
Hey,
that's the way I like. It was what I was used to.
that's incredible. That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
My final question for you, Steve, man. Also looking back right on your entire journey, Like, what are you most proud of, man? With respect to what you did on and what you accomplished on the basketball court.
You know, the way things turned out for not only myself, like some members in my family, especially my little sister who lost my mom when she was 5 years old. So she was able to go to school, college, and do the things she wanted to do. My first purchase was a computer for her. So to see her grow up and evolve to be a woman now, and to see my kids grow. But on the court, like every game was special, like every single moment, even if we lost or won. But just to go out there and put that uniform was always special for me.
Tough, man. Legendary, man.
No doubt.
Steve, man, I appreciate you.
Always.
The time that you you know what I'm saying, that you spent on the court, the time you spent entertaining all of us, man, whether you're shaking somebody, you know what I'm saying? I remember I think you shook I don't even forgot who that was, man, but you shook him out his boots.
I'm tired of
And
seeing that highlight, man. But I remember it like it was yesterday, though. You know that.
Hey man, after seeing that, I'm sure there was a lot of cats that ain't wanna come check you after that.
Roll with the punches, man. You
Nah,
know how
no
it is.
doubt, no doubt. But yo, man, I appreciate you, man, for taking the time out. And we're gonna chop it up. I'm gonna send you my info, man. So next time you come to the city, you know what I'm saying, we chop it up or something, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, no doubt, man.
All right, one love.
All right, peace. There you have it, y'all. There you have it, man. None other than Steve Francis, man. The real Steve Francis. I can't believe that you know what I'm saying? I went from watching dude on TV to now creating this platform where, I get to chop it up with him, get to see about his journey and share this with the people, man. This is what this whole platform is about. So for the people out there that really put in that pain, put in that blood, sweat, and tears into this game, man. Um, this is why I do it, man. So salute to everybody out there checking this out, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this out with your people. You know what I'm saying? Happy holidays to everybody. And we're gonna catch you on the flip side, man, with another legend. Legends Talk. Cal Griffin. We out.